Alright, so the former president of Mexico came out and said the legalization of drugs is the way to combat cartels. A pretty refreshing take from a former politician, I must say, because if there is one group that would not want legalization of drugs, or even just marijuana, to occur, it would be the drug cartels. As it's been said before, prohibition is simply protectionism for the violent gangs and violent cartels. If you outlaw something with a demand, there will always be someone who comes along to service that demand. The question is, do you want them operating in the dark corners of society where the most violent, brutal, cunning, and treacherous people thrive and filter their way to the top and also lead to the death of untold numbers of civilians getting caught in the crossfire? Or do you want them operating in an open market where you simply have to have competitive business practices and a sound fiscal mind? Call me crazy, but as horrific as many drugs are, it does us no good whatsoever to insist on giving all the profits, all the market share, all the influence, and all the power to organizations that will brutally and openly murder others to garner more market share, because that's exactly what prohibition gets you. I've said this before, prohibition makes it profitable to kill your competition. Now, it should be noted that if Mexico legalizes marijuana or drugs in general, I fear this would only help them marginally because the US is their biggest customer, and if we're not leading this push for legalization, or if we refuse to do it, which we will likely refuse, considering our politicians are incapable of reason, then Mexican drug manufacturers would still need to engage in black market smuggling and black market selling, so there would still be a significant black market element to all this. So I think Mexico is shifting towards the right idea on this, but the US needs to get its head out of its rear end to really make a significant and lasting difference in both the US and Mexico. Now, I've seen some people say that this might be the drug cartels trying to infiltrate the Mexican government in order to legalize their trade. Well, as I've said, that wouldn't make too much sense. One big reason why their profit margins are so incredible is due to the illegality of their trade. People are willing to pay a far higher price than they otherwise would due to the constant threat of confiscation. There are very few industries where entire truckloads of your product can consistently disappear because of confiscation, but you can still make a killing at it. Again, this is a direct result of prohibition. This former Mexican president is on the right track. It should also be noted that if Mexico and even the US ends prohibition, it unfortunately wouldn't end the cartels overnight. We've been at this insane prohibition game for so long that they've amassed untold fortunes, so they would still be around, but it would be the beginning of the end for them. They would also be forced to ramp up their involvement in less profitable ventures like prostitution, illegal gambling, or human trafficking. There is money to be made there, but the reason why they focus so heavily on drugs right now is because there's far more money there. Without that option, they'd take a big hit, but it would still take time for them to be diminished to a mere nuisance rather than the lurking monster that they are now. So anyway, it's good to see some prominent people come out and support this. It's logical, and the vast numbers of lessons history has taught us about prohibition makes this almost common sense at this point. Unfortunately, of course, if there are two things politicians seem to lack, it would be logic and an ability to learn from the past. But we'll see. Anyway, that's it for now. Subscribe to this channel because that would be awesome. Leave a like, share the video, and all that cool stuff, and take it easy.